Pugh! That'll do it! That will do it! Pugh for Bournemouth! The roof of the Gold Sands is raised! Everyone here knows what that could mean to this football.
Well, hello Bournemouth fans and welcome to the full-time free-for-all where we discuss tonight's performance against Stoke City. But before we get started tonight, I just wanted to take a little bit of time to remember Jimmy Lumber AKA Jimbo, a much-loved Cherries fan who passed away this morning. He was a true loving brother, father, granddad and gentleman, but most of all a true loving Cherry who was one of us. Not many can say that they loved AFC Bournemouth much more than Jimbo. He travelled up and down the country week in, week out, cheering on the boys since he was a young boy himself. And if anyone could remember the game, the result, and even the scorers, you could bet your money on it that Jimbo could. A season ticket holder and an avid Bournemouth fan right from the start to the end, Jimbo will be deeply missed by all and remembered by so many for many years to come. Sleep tight, Jimbo, and up the Cherries, and of course, Boscombe, back of the net.
I wish Eddie and the boys on Saturday all the best and bring it in for the rest of the season. Boscombe, back of the net.
I had the privilege of chatting to Jimmy less than 12 months ago away to Burnley. It was a turgid 3-0 loss, but it was clear his passion for Bournemouth was just infectious, and he'll be greatly missed by his friends and family and all of us here at Back of the Net and AFC Bournemouth, of course. He was a loyal Cherry till the end and he will not be forgotten. Well, patience is a virtue, and that one was for you, Jimmy. Tonight, Cherries weren't exactly vintage. A change of formation, 2 personnel changes and a familiar frustration for large parts of the game. But Junior Stanislas, as Sky Sports kept on calling him, he came good exactly when we needed him. Michael O'Neill, he's definitely got his sides playing the way he wants them to, hasn't he? It's not what anyone wants to watch, but it produces the kind of affair that we expected and indeed witnessed this evening. Very good at stifling the attacks whilst not producing many of their own. That said, it felt like in the first half they had the majority of the chances, albeit not the clearest in the first half. That fell to Dom Solanke. We had the best chance of the second half though, and we took it. Lewis Cook feeding Junior Stanislas, and whilst he didn't have the best of games, he certainly has that composure in those situations. 1-0 to Bournemouth. Throughout a lot of the game, there were individual errors at the top end of the pitch that made us occasionally look like some players hadn't played together before. I think Lloyd Kelly, despite having a fairly good showing, was often playing low and fast passes into the feet of his opponents. And, you know, up the other end of the pitch, Diego Rico would go on a 40-yard run only to find the touchline. It was frustrating to watch, mad at times. And fortunately, had it not been for Junior's goal, we could have been losing ground. It's good to win whilst being poor. And there's a lot to think about for JT, which is probably a good thing. And let's not forget, finding a way to win when you're not at your best. We would look at other teams and say they've ground it out. It's been gritty. Maybe we should give ourselves some credit. If you want to take part tonight, well, you can do so, of course, as ever. We're back on the free-for-all. This is your show. So grab some headphones, take part. That's the address to go to, afcbpodcast.com/take part. And we'll also post your comments at the bottom of the screen if you want to tap away. And we would absolutely love to hear from you. So first thing we're going to do is cross to Jeremy in North Carolina, who's here with us. Jeremy, how are you?
Hey, Sam. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you. And fortunately, it was a happy New Year for Bournemouth in the end after tonight's game, eh?
Yeah, I confess I watched the first half. I didn't get to see the second. But boy, after that first half, all I could think was, okay, at what point do we decide playing out from the back is just not our thing? And Stoke was giving us the channels, both sides. And the few times in the first half when we did, pass the ball down the channel, the long ball, it was effective. It was effective. And so I didn't see the second half. Maybe we did that. I hope we did. But hey, listen, sometimes it's good to win ugly than to lose pretty. And so I'm excited. I think we've got a game in hand over Swansea. We're a point behind, 2 points behind them, or 1 point. I think 1 point. And
we're going to bring up the table in a minute and show everyone exactly where we are. But it was absolutely important that we managed to get the result tonight. So what I'm going to do is make it a family affair tonight by bringing in Billy Day, and we've got Pete North, his granddad, here as well. Billy, how are you, sir?
Yeah, no, I'm great. That's the birthday wish I wanted. I've got my birthday tomorrow. I'm thinking, I can spend the night on a night one. So, yeah, that's fantastic.
Happy New Year and happy birthday in advance to you. 1-0 over Stoke. It was never going to be a pretty game, was it? And it turned out not to be. But we got the result that mattered, eh, Billy?
Yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, those 2 points that we gained tonight, I mean, even if it was to end to draw, those 2 points will be very costly for us in the season coming onwards. So, it's a big win tonight. That's exactly what we needed.
Why do you think it was so difficult? Do you think Stoke had their tactics down to a T, Billy?
Well, when I first looked at the team, having 3 at the back, I thought, and then having Surridge and Solanke up top, I'm thinking, yeah, no, we were quite comfortable tonight. But Rico was poor, Kelly was fairly poor. I thought Simpson and Cook were all right. Lerma in the first half was quite poor. Surridge had a terrible game today. But then as soon as Brooksy came on, just changed the game around for us. And then Stanislas, to calm as you like, slow it in. It's perfect.
You're right about Sam Surridge, because we've all been clamouring to play 2 up front, and that was what most of us expected. Although I've got to say, he didn't have the best of games. He worked hard, he showed the effort, but technically he wasn't quite there. He had a chance early doors that I think he should have done better with, but then, so did Dom Solanke. He probably should have done better. Pete, how are you? Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year to you. Yeah.
How are you feeling after that?
Yeah, oh, blimey. Grinding. You know what? Last time I was on here was at the Wigan game when we ground one out from there. Now we're grinding them out again. But that's what happens. You have to sort of on days like this, you've got to roll your sleeves up and get stuck in, Teams are going to try and frustrate us. And like you said, Stoke had their stall set out pretty well. And the catalyst to change was Sam going off and Brooksy coming on. Once that changed and Junior moved out to the wing, that changed the whole dynamic, and that's what made it for us, And that pass from Lewis Cook to set Stanislas up, that was sublime, absolutely brilliant pass. And also good to see Kingy back as well. He looked ring rusty in the week, but tonight he seemed to. I think someone wrote in the comments, he seemed to have got his mojo back a little bit today. So that bears us good for the future.
Yeah, it certainly does. And in our preview video, Topher came along and said, it was going to be a low-scoring affair, and that it certainly was. Although you've got to say, Pete, we did create a couple of chances. I mean, that Solanke chance was very clear in the first half, and we could have maybe been out of sight based on the last 10 minutes, because Solanke did well to reach the byline and cut the ball back, and there were other opportunities as well. So I mean, it's not all doom and gloom despite the 3 points, is it?
Do you know what? I want to watch. I'll wait till I watch it back to be certain. But where Solanke hit the bar, tried to lob the keeper, couldn't he have pushed that to his left, and Surridge was in space there to have a crack? Or did I miss it?
No, there could have been. Jeremy's nodding his head there.
Yeah. There was a slight opening there. If he, like you said, if he just passed to his left, it's a tap in for Surridge. That's correct.
Yeah. I did get that right.
Yeah, you did. So, I mean, look, we played 3 at the back and playing 2 up front. And, do you think a better formation, Jeremy, or a different formation would have, made the first half a little bit more bearable? Or is it just credit to Stoke for doing what they do best?
Well, I think it's credit to Stoke more than anything. They did their homework, right? I mean, they did their scouting on us, and they know if they run a high press, it's like a press in basketball. You run the press, and until the teams break the press, you keep doing it. And we just seemed hell bent on just playing out from the back. And it's funny because I saw a show just over a few days ago with Scholes and Neville talking about one of their matches during their heyday of Man United. And one thing they both said was, we were taught to never pass the ball backwards, especially from midfield. Center midfield, you never look to pass back to your central midfielder, or not your central, your left back or your right back or your keeper. You never do that. They said Ferguson would have killed us for doing that. Yet we seem to, that's our first thing we want to do is turn and pass the ball back. And I don't know. I'm more of the aggressive type, play forward, push forward. If it means changing the formation, I don't know enough. I admit I'm an idiot when it comes to formations and tactics. But I know enough to know what's not working. You don't keep doing it. And so that to me is what frustrated me. It looked like Kelly really struggled anytime he got the ball in that left corner, that back left corner. It was like a hot potato. He did not want it in his hands or on his feet. And Simpson was okay, but they all looked very tentative and scared with the ball. Yeah. But the few times, and like I said earlier, that we would look for the long ball down the channels, it was there, it was effective, and it led to a breakout. Yet we only did it a few times that I saw. Maybe we did it more in the second half. Like I said, I didn't watch.
No, I think your points are pretty sound there. Now, to me, Billy, it felt like we were getting a bit overrun in the midfield during most parts of that game, and it almost needed a Philip Billing, who obviously had a knock or whatever it was. Now, who thought that we would all be saying that? You roll back 2 months ago, and we weren't wanting him in the side, but he's shown his true value recently, and it felt like we needed someone like him in there. And at times, they were going through us like a hot knife through butter, but. Like at the end of the day, we got the win when it mattered. But what do you think we were missing today, especially in that first half, Billy?
I think Surridge is just not having his off game, to be honest. I think he created chances, but he just wasn't that much clinical. And I think now we've got the transfer window open. If Kingy does decide he wants to go to West Ham or whatever it is, we need to look at a goal scorer, because we have goal scorers in the team. But we need a solid number 9, better than Solanke, that will score goals whenever. Because Solanke's a great goal scorer, but it's just you just don't know when he's going to perform or not. And I think if Kingy does leave, then Surridge isn't going to score 20 goals a season. Solanke might, but even if you do have Solanke, you still have someone else to back us up, and that's our main problem. We need goals to win this league. And
if I may, I agree with Billy, and I think that's where JT needs to do something to get Brooks more involved and get him open on the pitch, to get the ball. We have to figure out a way to get him comfortable out there, to feed him the ball. I agree with you, Billy. Solanke is not a guy that can handle all of this for the entire season.
That's exactly
Yeah, I think Brooksy's a marked man, though. I think, his reputation goes before him. And we've seen it in a few games where he's just been crowded out of the game. Today, he was given a bit of room to show what he could do. And when he came on, what I thought was missing in our game was our passing game. And especially after the goal in midweek against Brentford, which illustrated our passing game perfectly. It wasn't there tonight until Brooksy came on, and then we started passing it. The passes were all ended up a bit short. They're going to nobody and everything. And we just had an off day, a bad day at the office. Luckily, I think Stoke fell away. I think their pressing game is so high intensity, they can't keep it up for the whole 90 minutes, and they fell away, which give us the chance to attack them a bit more. So, Stanislas,
No, I think you're absolutely right. When you're playing the high press like they are, you're going to tire. And when sort of David Brooks came on, even though his passes weren't exactly crisp, and sometimes he took an extra touch, or maybe got the ball away or went over too easy, he was starting to open them up. You could tell that. And who was your man of the match, Pete, from that?
I'd say Brooksy. I would make Brooksy, even though he's only on for 20 minutes, because he changed the dynamic of the whole game, didn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, they've made Stanislas man of the match, but he scored. That really was the only bit of magic that Stanislas really produced. I think he was played well out of position today.
Yeah.
I think once Brooksy came on and he went on the wing, he became more effective then.
Yeah, agreed. We're gonna change it around. Thank you guys for coming on. Really appreciate it. And Happy New Year to all. Thanks, Jeremy.
Yeah, Happy New Year, Sam.
Cheers. Thank you very much, Billy and Pete. Yeah, nice to have you on. Thank you very much.
Okay. See you tomorrow, Bill.
Love it. That's a family affair there. So we got Tom standing by, but we're going to bring Kirk in as well as Daniel and also John too, who are standing by. Tom is next, and nice to have Simon and Filippo in the waiting room as well. Kirk, I'll start with you. Congratulations on an excellent team lineup show with Craig Beasley. That's exclusively on Twitter. So if you join via that username down there, if you follow him, then every time there's a team lineup, you and Craig are discussing it. And what was your view on when you saw the lineup?
Yeah, I really liked it. And I've been pressing for the two up top for quite a few games now. So I know the questions are probably going to come up about today's game. But I was really excited by it. Yeah,
it's Sam Surridge came in alongside Dom Solanke, and three at the back. There was emphasis on the wing backs, but Smith hasn't been. Well, I don't know. He's had up and down performances for us. Diego Rico came back in, but don't you felt sometimes that they weren't maybe pushing up the pitch enough and leaving this sort of two in midfield exposed? Because Stoke seemed to be overrunning us, especially throughout that first half.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think when you've got two strikers up there, we need to be loading the box and we need to be putting balls in the box. And especially with Sam Surridge, who's obsessed with the 18-yard box, we just really didn't utilise that. I still like the two up the top. It's fine lines for me. If Dom Solanke scores from a very good chance and he also lays Surridge on the plate with a little bit more quality, we go in 2-0 down, and actually everyone at half-time's going, look, we're good with two up top. So I think it is fine lines. It's when we go in at 0-0 that actually people are, fans might go, actually, it's not working. But fine lines for me. I mean, I'm going to stick up for Sam Surridge a bit because I've always said that he's the closest we've got to a number 9. Oh. And I've always said that I've never pinned all my hopes on Sam Surridge, but he gives us something that we don't have. I think he gives us press from the front, so he closed down quite a bit at the start, and I think he occupies centre backs and makes them turn and face their own goal, which is where Stoke was struggling. And I said at half time that they don't like the direct balls over the top, and that's where we're going to have success. And in the end, we did. But for Sam Surridge, he had a brilliant game at Barnsley. He then didn't get a start after that. He then didn't really fit in anywhere really until Wickham came on, changed the game. For me, he changed the game. We won the game 1-0. Then he doesn't start again. Then Josh King comes on ahead of him. For me, if you're Sam Surridge and you're a young player, I think that's put a lot of pressure on him tonight, to the fact that he thinks that he's got to perform, otherwise he's limited again to when he's going to get his game time again. Now, I'm not saying he underperformed because of that, but I just want to put that all in perspective, that he's performed and then he doesn't get a lot of game time. So we've got to take that in perspective.
You found it a bit bizarre that in the last game that Josh King is brought on rather than someone like Sam Surridge. Is that just because Josh King provides us that burst of pace and that energy, whereas Sam is more of a kind of workman-like player that will do a job for the whole 90, or at least give it his all?
Yeah, I just don't see Josh King coming on and scoring goals. I just don't see it. I'm seeing a little bit more effort from him tonight. But guess what? We're in January and there's a new transfer window. I'm not sure whether he's turning up like this because, he's trying to create something. But Josh King's not the answer. I've always said that. We've had a lot of success in the 5 years with Josh King. I think it was baffling that Josh King came on before Sam Surridge, when every time Sam Surridge has played, bar tonight maybe, that he's been effective and actually had a massive input in our football matches. So but I said I think we need 2 additions in this window. And at 60 minutes, I was actually thinking to myself that would we be a little bit different with Jack Wilshere in there with Lerma and Cook?
Well, someone said that. I'm sure he'll be mentioned throughout the show because obviously we know that he's training with us at the moment, and people have been saying, why can't he do as a pay-as-you-play sort of thing? Who knows? Daniel, how are you? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to all. Everyone.
Happy New Year, Daniel.
Happy New Year, everyone.
So, thoughts on that? 1-0 over Stoke. You must be quite happy, Daniel.
It was like a game no one was expecting. Fair point, because Stoke did have a really good defense, so we can't really be too upset because we're like one of the first teams that actually won against them because Stoke hasn't like been tying so many games, so it's like good. Yeah, it's my opinion. I don't know, but I say David Brooks to me, it was weird that he wasn't lined up. I know he has been playing a lot, but I feel like he might not score as much, but I feel like he changes like the effort with the passing, and he's just a good player like to at least have there for like a pass. And to me, I feel like that's like one of the big reasons. Like, don't want to say like none of the other players are good. It's just like I want to say Junior Stanislas, Solanke, and Brooks. They have like that connection.
Yeah.
And that's what I feel like he should have been on.
Yeah, fair play. John, Happy New Year. How are you?
Thanks. Yeah, you too, everyone. Yeah, it's been quite a while since I've been on here. Can't even remember the last time, to be honest.
No, nor can I.
Yeah,
but 1-0 win over Stoke. Pretty
there
good.
Was that no man's land for Christmas. I was like, yes, Millwall. Then it was like, oh no, that's postponed. And then obviously yesterday. So it's nice to come back. Obviously it's New Year and come with a win. I thought we were so different to how we played against Brentford. We seem to mirror teams and we seem to not play our own football. As I'm trying to explain, like we seem to always play how the other team is playing, and I know you have to do that. But for me, I was actually doing. I think Daniel, you were watching. I was doing a watch along for the game, and I was saying for a lot of periods of the game, it seemed to just be a bit of a lull. It didn't really. There wasn't really anything happening, and I think Stoke. All credit to them though. Defensively, they were sound, and I just think for long periods of the game, we weren't. I wasn't seeing us playing like we have done in other games, and I don't want to sound negative because I'm not. I'm really happy that we got the goal and we got the 3 points, but I think we were really lucky there to get that today.
I mean, it's interesting because when we've lost matches before, we've always delivered a fairly decent performance on the subsequent match. And I think there have been a few performances this season where we've got the 3 points, but we've probably emerged from it with more questions than answers. Our 1-0 over Wickham, 3-2 over Blackburn, first game of the season. But maybe that's not a bad thing to have got the 3 points yet still be realising there are certain issues. So where do you think the issues were in our performance today, John?
I don't know if it's maybe the fact that we're still getting used to playing again. Obviously, there was like the Christmas break, and I don't know though. I think we should still be turning up. I mean, we are obviously turning up, but obviously this is late on in the game when King came on, but I didn't think he looked match fit enough, and I don't know if that's just because he hasn't had the game time or, but. Yeah, he seemed to be lacking some pace when he was running onto that ball.
Got a quick question here, John, for you, by the way. Like Ethan's on chat asking, who have you got on the back of your shirt? That is John, rather than Job. What's he writes? Who have you got on the back of your shirt?
Oh, it's what, a number?
Yeah, name, number.
No, nothing. It's just.
Oh, you haven't. Same as me then, completely blank. So hopefully that answers that question for you, Ethan.
I don't know why I didn't go with one. It's just more classic to go without one, I think. Yeah.
Rich Neal says that he thought that King looked pretty sharp. John.
Okay, maybe I just saw it differently from my eyes, but Yeah, he's definitely looked better than he has. He made more of an impact than other games he's come on.
Yeah.
Do you think maybe he needs to come on earlier to maybe prove his worth more? Because it sort of seems, and when we've had subs like that in other games with maybe Surridge has come on in 5 minutes or something, it's like, is that enough time to really make an impact?
I suppose it, it keeps him ticking over fitness-wise, doesn't it?
Maybe King needs to come more on 75 minutes, even 80 minutes.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm more interested to see how he performs in February if he's still here.
Yeah, if he's still here. By the way, can I see a bit of a beard going on here, Toby?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I'm trying. It'll never get to Beasley stage.
No, of course not. And he's here waiting as well. What we're going to do, we're going to switch it over at this point because there are more people waiting. So, John, we're going to say goodbye for now. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no worries. Good to be back.
Yeah, good man. And also, Daniel, thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciate it. He's gone. Just quickly tell the people watching across the platforms again about your show then, and just give us a brief summation of that performance before we bring in the other guys. Then, Kurt.
Yeah, so it's just an idea in being able to stream live after the lineups are released to get sort of a quick dissection of that and have a look at it. And it worked really well tonight with Craig, and hopefully we may be able to bring other viewers, podcasters in as well that follow the show. And I just think it gets us, breaks up that hour between the lineups released to the kickoff time and gets us prepared for the game. So it was really enjoyable, and I'm looking to do it more. Today I thought I was surprised, and I think we as a team looked like we were surprised by the way Stoke started. I think they kept the ball very well. They just lacked quality in the final third, fortunately. I did think, though, Sam, that we looked quite leggy at times, considering we've probably had more break than anyone else because of the Millwall game. But I felt players like, and I hate to say it, but players like Jeff Lerma look like they've not been on it the last few games. But I definitely think we need a couple of additions in this window if we want to give ourselves a really good chance at automatics, because there are 4 or 5 teams that I think you're going to have 2 out of the 4 or 5 teams that are really going to push for the automatics. And there is going to be a fine line between that and the playoffs for me. So, but you take a 1-0 when you're under par. Absolutely.
Brilliant. Kirk, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Cheers, Sam. Thanks.
Nice one. And if you want to get involved, it's afcbpodcast.com/take part. So Craig is standing by, as is John, who we're going to bring in a bit later on. But people who have been waiting before that, Tom Jordan. Hello, mate.
Hello, mate. You all right?
Yeah, very good. Very good. Not too bad. Simon Kay's here as well. Simon, how are you?
I'm very well. Thank you. How are you?
Very good. The Cherries talking duo. And we've also got legend Filippo here as well. Filippo.
Yeah. Hi, Sam. Happy New Year to you, everybody.
Happy New Year to you as well. So we'll start with Tom then. What was your assessment on what you saw tonight, Tom? Because frustrating in large parts, but I suppose ultimately we got the job done, didn't we, eh?
Yeah, exactly, mate. I didn't expect anything different. I think I spoke to you before the game and said this is going to be one of them games. We're going to Stoke. Not many teams go to Stoke and walk over them. I think they've lost a couple at home this season. They haven't conceded many goals. Got a lot of experienced heads in there, haven't they? Obi Mikel and Fletcher and players like that, Joe Allen. I knew it was going to be a difficult one. You just got to grind it out, and we won the game. I spent years trying to say to people about how, Bournemouth are really good to watch. I know we don't win all the time, and everyone was going, it's all about winning, and we're not good enough defensively. That's another clean sheet. How many of them have we kept? And we just got the job done again. And by the way, I wore the Stanislas training top today, so I'm claiming that. And he was useless again, but got another match winner. I saw, he wasn't great today, but I saw a lovely little stat my mate put up saying that if you took Stanislas's goals out this season, we'd be 12th. Because of how the important goals he gets. And that's why I could see a lot of people saying, to take him off. But that's why you leave Junior on the pitch, in my opinion, because he can provide that bit of magic. He done it against Wickham as well, didn't he? Great ball from Lewis, who was the best player on the pitch as well.
Yeah, and we saw a number of through balls from Lewis, and also some brilliant long sweeping passes from Jeff Lerma. I mean, my goodness, that pass that was into the chest of Dom Solanke, who managed to sort of almost turn the corner on the defender and play Sam Surridge. I mean, what a goal that would have been. But it was one of a few bright moments in that first half. I mean, Dom Solanke grazed the crossbar with his lob, but Stoke they didn't seem to do much with the ball, but they just, I don't know, they just did what Stoke do, don't they, Tom?
Yeah, they tried to make it difficult for us and hope that they can maybe nick something when we got a bit desperate. But the fact is, Begovic didn't have a lot to do today, did he? I can't remember. He's kept us in a lot of games, only with big saves. But he didn't really need to be there, to be honest, for a majority. And they made it difficult, but it was just all about us making sure we could just find a way. And I really didn't think we would. And I thought we're going to have to settle for a nasty point here, but just take that and get home. But we managed to nick the goal. And that's a real good sign when you're not playing. We've done it a few times this season. When you're not playing well, you get over the line, and we're making it difficult for teams to score against us. And I always feel we've got a goal in us. So that's a great stat to have, because we've got a lot more in us. We've got some players to come back as well. So yeah, I think it's really good signs. It wasn't free flowing, but you're not going to be free flowing all the time. And when you're not, it's about just finding a way. And we've done that again. And I'm really, really pleased, because that was a bit like kind of Rotherham, Middlesbrough. I think we said them type of games, and we drew them too. So it was really good to get a win out of that. And it was always going to be a difficult week, I thought. And at the end of the day, I thought we played really well against Brentford and lost. I'd much rather play not that well and get the win. And that's what we did today. So that's the main thing, mate.
Look, I mean, Simon, Norwich played Barnsley today, and I only saw some brief highlights on Sky Sports beforehand, but, it seemed like they had a number of good chances, like we did. They took one of theirs, and then even last gasp chance for Barnsley where, the guy just, puts it wide of the post. And it's one of these performances where as Bournemouth fans, we're looking at another side and we're like, well, they seem to be playing well, but they are grinding it out. So like I said in my opening monologue, maybe we should give ourselves a little bit of credit for hanging in there and then taking our chance when we needed to.
Yeah, it is what it is. I mean, whenever you're in a league with Stoke and you've got Stoke away and it's cold and it's snowy and it's disgustingly horrible, you don't get free-flowing football, even when it's dry and sunny. There's certain teams that you just know you're going to have to play their way almost, and just find a way through. So I'm very happy, before any season starts, if you're going to get 3 points away at the Bet365, thank you very much, I'll take them. I don't care what it looks like. I've been there a few times and it's not the nicest place to watch a game. So just take and move on. I mean, there are some points that Kirk made and others have. I don't think it's the striker's fault today. I think the speed of transition through the park was very slow. Just didn't have the pace that we should be having there. So I'm not going to put it on either of the strikers today. They do what they could. Slow phases of play was the problem. Just do it better and quicker. But credit to Stoke. Stoke. They just do that kind of thing really well and always will. So take the points, move on.
I completely agree with what you said. And at times it felt like a bit of a training drill, because we had the ball in the middle of the park and we seemed to progress up the pitch very slowly. And at times you just thought we need that little bit more intensity, but unfortunately, we didn't quite have it. I remember, there was a pass that was fed to Diego Rico, and he just took that little bit too long to get the ball into the box, and it was cut out by, their defender. And there were times where even David Brooks was on the ball and he just looked a bit ponderous, and there was space in front of him, and you thought, drive into that space. Lloyd Kelly, there are others, but we got the win, and that's all that counts. And Filippo, I mean, he's got a smile on his face, so that's a good thing. Filippo, how are you there in Italy? You all right?
Yeah, I'm right, Sam. I'm seeing that everybody is happy with the idea that it's not the best performance, but it's 3 points on the road against Stoke City, who is gonna fight for at least playoffs, I think. So. This game was similar to the Bristol City at home. Bristol City game, it was blocked, but we had chances. And then in the final minutes, we had our winner.
Yes, we did. And lots of people loving the fact that you're on the chat, and Alex Hall music. I mean, why does everything have to be a song,
can you spot the comment from Alex Hall?
There it is, Filippo.
Alex Hall, because he made the chant.
Yeah, he has made a chant saying he comes from Italy.
Thanks everybody for all the love.
yeah, drops mic. Well, it was a frustrating game though, wasn't it, Filippo? It was a hard one to watch at times, and had it not been for that one moment, we could be all very negative right now, couldn't we?
Yeah, I think that this is one type of wins we need to get back to quickly in the Premier League. You were saying that we had some games like this. You mentioned the open. The season opener, the first game against Blackburn Rovers. Yeah, that's my opinion. We are gonna. This is the type of wins we need. Dirty wins, if I can name that.
No, completely. I completely agree with that. And what we're going to do shortly, we're going to bring up a number of 5-word match reports, and there have been a few that have submitted on this chat that I'm going to go through very shortly. Tom, did anything about Stoke surprise you at all?
Not particularly. I thought there would be just a really hard team to break down, but I felt we'd hopefully have enough quality in the end, which we did. I think in general, we're talking about how we're probably not being that free flow and self lately. I think a lot of it's to do with our wide areas. I think the wing backs / fullbacks are just not on it at the moment. I wonder if Smithy's 100% personally, because we can't rotate him because Stacey's out. You're asking Kelly to do it sometimes. Then Rico's coming in and he seems to have a good game, about 1 in 5 at the moment. And then, talking about Stanislas, obviously got the winner again, but he's playing left wing back, then he's playing behind the striker, then he's playing left wing, right wing, ended up at right wing back. So it's hard for him to get that consistency. But I think I felt the wing backs struggled to give us enough. And like Simon alluded to there, I don't think you could blame the strikers. I don't think we were getting balls into them quick enough. Weren't giving them the right service really. But as far as Stoke go, I always felt they'd be like that. And I weirdly would rather win games 1-0 than 4-3 and stuff like that, because I know that in this team we have got goals. I've always been a bit wary about how good are we defensively. So the more clean sheets we can get, then we're laughing, because we will always get goals in games, I think, in the grand scheme of things. So it's all good, mate. Don't worry about it. We're fine.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
I was about to say, Tom, just before we come back to Simon, Heather asks you, do you think Lloyd Kelly did better this time?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I said recently that I haven't been convinced by him, hadn't I? I said that just not sure whether what his best position is really, because we know the quality he's got, especially when we saw him in the Premier League when he came in. I just don't think he's been as good. But tonight I thought he was a bit better. He was playing more centrally. I didn't expect him to bomb on as much as he maybe should have recently when he's been more left back. But yeah, he was definitely better tonight, I thought. And I think he will be. Forget how long he was out for as well. So I think it's going to take him a bit of time. But yeah, I was happy with Lloyd tonight. I was only it was Diego and Smithy that I was disappointed in general. There were a few players. I think Lerma looked a little bit leggy at times, to be fair. Simpson made a few bad passes at times. But on the whole, I just felt the two wing backs were the two that I would consider poor today, to be honest.
And that's where we were losing the battle in midfield, wasn't it? And, they weren't getting up enough. Simon, sorry, I cut you off there.
No, I was just going to add in there basically about how you break the press. And obviously, I think having two up top, the way Stoke pressed, there was too big a distance to be able to create that key pass. We were kind of missing a player to enable regular, consistent breaking of the press. And I think that's what was ultimately frustrating, because we were missing a bit of an outlet. And sometimes when you have two up top, that does create that problem, because you miss that player that can just sit in that hole behind. So is that going to be Jack Wilshere? Who knows? But, he could certainly do a role in some games and certain games. And I still don't think if Josh King doesn't go, we don't need another striker. I don't subscribe to that. I think there's enough in the squad to be able to score enough goals. We've just got to be quicker, a bit less pedantic in defence sometimes. But all good.
Dan Juma will feel like a new signing as well, won't he?
Oh, yeah. It really will. And, looking forward to have players like Jack Stacey back, as you said, Chris Mepham. But, yeah, Jack Wilshere. I mean, we did Eddie share. And look, I haven't had money in my pocket for 12 months, but I've just found a £5. I'll chuck that in. So, maybe we can get...
That's my wages.
that's probably about 2 minutes of Jack's time. Actually, not even that. Who knows? But, it was brilliant when he played for us, and he had his sort of longest spell injury free. And look, we finished 9th that season. He didn't, the stats might not be favourable when you look at it, thinking he didn't score goals or whatever. But what a cog he was, and some of my best memories were from that season. Filippo, before we switch things up, who's your man of the match today, and we're talking Asmir Begovic, of course, his place is confirmed. But who do you think should be a shoe-in for the next game? Do you think Sam Surridge should start our next match?
So first, man of the match. My man of the match is going to be Lewis Cook. What a ball for Junior Stanislas. Yeah, and then speaking about Sam Surridge, maybe I see that before in the past games, in the past 3-4 roles, but. I think that he deserves his chances. I think he deserves to be in the starting lineup because he's the right player for the championship. He creates chances, scores goals. That's the right league for him. But he also showed something also in the Premier League, that disallowed goal against Southampton. That's the one, but it's he showed that he's a good player.
I think he'll start the next one, Sam, because it's the cup game, isn't it?
Of course, yeah.
So I think that's going to be really good for him, because I think that's the type of game that just you can rest Dom hopefully and let Surridge lead the line, or maybe even play Josh King. I doubt it, because he'll.
His goal at sorry, I forgot. His goal at the Etihad against Man City in the Carabao Cup.
Yeah, that was
great goal. Yeah, absolutely great goal. And Tom, do you think we'll see the likes of sort of Zamora and maybe Jade Nancy? Off a ball, maybe.
Yeah, we've got to prioritise, haven't we? And I think there's certain players that have just got to be rested. I can't really. You might see someone like, if we play with a 3 at the back, you might see someone like Steve Cook or Lloyd Kelly potentially stay in, just because we've got a few injuries there with Meps and stuff. I think you'll see Roro, probably. You probably see Raquelme, you probably see Sam Surridge again start. And then, off the ball, Goslin will probably come in, potentially captain the side, I reckon. Zamora, Anthony, off the ball, them type of players will either start or come on around the hour, I would have thought, and Travers in goal. But looking forward to seeing them. But I think it's a game where let Surridge lead the line, and if he goes out there in a cup game and bags himself a goal and gets his confidence up again, then that'll stand him in good stead. But I think we'll definitely make changes. We got it, really, haven't we? I want to win the game, but I'm not asked.
Fair play, Filippo. Thank you very much for coming on tonight.
Thank you, Sam. Up the Cherries.
Up the Cherries, and also Simon too. Thank you very much.
Thank you as always. All the best.
See you, Simon.
See you soon. And Tom, are we gonna have a player rating show from you tomorrow?
Yeah, if the boss pays me enough, I'll I'll do that. I was getting really worried it was going to be a 0-0 again. I was thinking, oh no, it's going to be hard to get. You know what I'm like? I try to get a positive swing on everything. I needed that Stanislas goal, mate, because I'd be fighting it off all night. But like I say, mate, we were happy, weren't we, in the week with the performance, but we lost the game. And today was nowhere near as good, but we got the result. And I'm sorry, but everyone would prefer that, wouldn't they? And I think that's what we've got to look at. I think we've had one good performance this week, but only one good result, and they were the reverse. And sometimes you just got to grind them out, mate. And I think at the start of the season, every team, I think Simon might have said it, every team goes, Stoke away, don't want that. And we've got it out of the way with a win, the clean sheet. So.
We were looking for 4 points. We got 3. And, there were questions from which hopefully we'll get positive answers. So, subscribe for Tom's videos tomorrow. If you like Tom's videos, there's a big number. Hit the like button on this video, right? And,
This is your video. It's like mine. Why are we liking this one?
It all helps, mate. It all helps.
Oh no, just like everything.
Just like everything. Smash that like. Nice one. Cheers, Tom.
Cheers, Sammy. Take care.
Take care, mate. See you later on. Nice to see Keith Thomas. Keith, haven't seen you in a while, mate. You're always welcome on over there in Milford-on-Sea. Happy New Year to you, buddy. Glad you're doing okay. Right, so Craig standing by, as is John Spark and Steve as well. And you know what? We're going to bring in Dan as well. So we're going to go 5 ways with this. Why the hell not? It's the new year. Craig, excellent show with Kirk. Went really well. And that performance, I mean, that didn't go amazingly well, but we got the result, didn't we?
Yeah, that was the main thing from that. And you're always going to, like Simon said, there's certain places that you go to, and Stoke's one of those where they do press you high up the pitch. They're always making it difficult. And to be fair, I'm very happy with that because we learn they did what Rotherham did to us. They're a better side than Rotherham, but we actually, managed it a lot better this time round. We didn't concede, firstly, but secondly, that ball through, we picked it perfectly and well taken by Stanislas. But it was always going to be a tough game up there in Stoke, and full credit to them. They do what they do. They're not the most gifted of sides. What was your... Actually, I'll throw this out. What was all your takes on that tackle from James McLean? Now, I can't stand James McLean. But at the same time, surely that was a red for that tackle on Brooks.
John?
The one on Brooks? 20 seconds after he came on.
Yeah, I think it was really late.
Give that a red any day of the week. He didn't go that high. He was barely late. I mean, yeah, it's a yellow every day of the week, but he'd have to be a bit higher for that to be a red for me personally. That's just my opinion on that one. But I've only seen it twice. I'd have to see it again. He might have gone in higher than I thought, but from the camera angles I saw, he looks like he trod on the top of his foot. You're going to have to be at least ankle high to be getting a red card, as far as I'm concerned. But again, I've only seen it twice.
That's me. I didn't see it.
So, Dan, thoughts on that? 1-0.
Yeah, it was always going to be a tough game, and you compare that to the Brentford game, which was potentially the best game of football that we've had this season, and go to this one, which was it wasn't a great game of football, let's be honest. But as I said, you need to grind out these results. These are important to get results, and it was always going to be a 1-0, but whichever way, we weren't sure. But yeah, there was. I'm a bit concerned about Smith at right back, though. I do think that I think it partly might be fitness because how many games he's playing, but it looks like he's really struggling there at the moment. Constant games, and also Rico. Again, I think the fullbacks weren't great today. I'm not sure if the 4 at the back or the 5 at the back is the best at the moment. I suppose it depends on the game. But more positives. I think that I tweeted this out earlier, but I think this is an overall general statement of our season. I think that Dom has been brilliant. I think that he's come on, and I think being relegated to the Championship was the best thing for him personally. I think he works incredibly hard for the team, which is all you can really ask for as a fan. And yeah, some of the stuff he was doing, that run at the end that almost led to a Stanislas goal. Can you imagine him doing that a year ago? Like, he just has so much more confidence in comparison, and he works really hard for the team. And I think that you look at Josh King and situation around him. I think when he played, it felt like he was playing as an individual within the attack rather than a combined three up front. And I think that it's almost but confirmed that Josh King's going to leave. I think I'd be very, very surprised if he stayed.
Just very quickly on the Smithy as well, and it's a good point that you make there, Dan. I think he does look very leggy. I think he's making quite a few mistakes. He made a few mistakes against Brentford, which I mentioned in the video with Kirk. I think we need to mix it up. I think, of course, if Stacey was fit, Stacey would be an instant shoo-in. However, I think Namdi has done enough to deserve his chance. From what I've seen, in games where he has managed to get on the pitch against Man City, he's done enough. Samura as well. Samura, also is a good option. So I would certainly, give Namdi a chance where Smithy is. I don't know what you guys think on that.
Yeah, no, I think it's great that we have the option that I don't know about what everyone else thinks, but having these youngsters that can come in that I wouldn't be like, oh, I don't know if he's ready or I don't know if he's got the quality. All the offer ball, I think, is brilliant. I'm surprised he hasn't started more games. Zamora looks brilliant. Jaden Anthony, when he came on, that young 16-year-old lad, what was his name? Birchall, I think it was. He looked really, really good as well. So having these youngsters that look really good and are going to develop, I think is really exciting. And I'd like to see, because he did come on he started, I think he came on as a right back off a ball in a game. I can't exactly remember what game it was. And I think he put a half decent shift in there. But I think, he could put a shift in there for sure, or a centre back or a CDM. So I think having those options for the youngsters that will develop is really good. So I'm interested to see what team he puts up in the FA Cup.
Yeah, someone's been asking about your YouTube channel, Dan, so I've just popped the link on there for people to go and have a look. And Steve, you've been very quiet so far. Do you want to pick up on that or just tell us how you feel?
I was just thinking about that Namdi thing, actually. Didn't he play right of a 3 against Man City in the Cup? Was that where he played?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So are you suggesting we could utilise him as an overlapping fullback? Is that what Craig? Is that what you're sort of saying?
I think so. I think he could play in that sort of role.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen him, attempt that, but I'd be interested to see if he could do it because, like everyone else has alluded to, I think Smith. I don't know what's going on, but it's not working for us going forward, is it, with Smith? And he seems to be getting frustrated with himself a bit more. Like in the Brentford game, he kept getting involved with stuff. He's making mistakes. I personally thought today we really suffered with wide attacking areas today. I just didn't think we had an outlet into the channel really. So maybe you could give him a go.
With Namdi, without Google being open, which I haven't got it open, didn't he play in that position for Wickham a couple of times?
I've got no idea where he played for Wickham. I thought he was centre midfield. I don't watch them much, Craig.
No, to be honest. It's a long time ago. It was when fans were back in the stadium. So
I know he's very good at Wickham. I don't know any more than that.
Yeah, well, when we had Bill Turnbull on, BBC Breakfast presenter Craig, and he obviously spoke very highly of Namdi, and he was instrumental, wasn't he, for them?
Yes, yeah, he was, and he played in that playoff final. He did very, very well. Throughout their season, Bill Turnbull wanted him to stay there. He said he looks a lot better in a Wickham shirt, but at the end of the day, he's a fantastic talent, as is Zamora and Jaden Anthony. I tell you what, Jaden Anthony is going to be a star and somebody who is going to be bloody difficult for us to keep hold of. If he carries on performing.
Get the goal he scored against West Ham, wasn't it? In the cup, the pre-season cup, wasn't it? Lovely finish.
Yeah, really good. And he's shown that he can hit the back of the net for not only for us but also for the under for the under-21s as well.
Those two as a partnership for the under-23s has been quite an effective partnership. I mean, I'd like to see them in the cup match next where is it, next week?
Yeah, Oldham on the 9th, and I'm really intrigued to see what Jason does. What we're going to do, because we're going to keep it to about an hour tonight, we're going to switch it up. So Craig and Dan, I'm going to bring in Keith shortly. So Craig, thank you very much, mate. Really appreciate you coming on.
Mate, pleasure as always.
Cheers, and also Dan, thank you very much for being on.
Cheers, Sam. Appreciate it.
Cheers, mate, and do remember to check out his channel. Right, Keith, the return of. Not only Keith.
This is too late. This is what I wanted for Christmas, not now.
And it's not only Keith, it's the sexiest man in Milford, Keith.
Oh,
how are you, buddy?
Oh my word, boys! Oh my word!
Is that your Tinder profile?
I wanted something in stockings. Yeah, I'm very good, Sam. Just been so busy. I started a new job. I've been training, and then obviously with Christmas coming up and all that, so I haven't had time even for myself. But beautiful to be back on.
I was like a worried mother, Keith. I didn't know where you were.
Oh,
I was looking for you.
Well, I was hoping for something. I was hoping for something in stockings, Steve, and I'm really disappointed not to see that. So what's going on? What's going on? I've even lost a beard.
I know. Yeah. I'm sure we'll ping you a WhatsApp later on. So Keith, we'll come to you shortly for your opinion. But John, we haven't really asked you much about today's game. So 1-0. It wasn't pretty. We got the job done. What's your analysis at full time of that?
I mean, basically piggyback on what everyone would say is really that it wasn't the best performance, but getting the win is better than anything you can really say in terms of how individual players performed and whatever decisions the manager made. I was kind of crying out for a proper third man in midfield since very early in the game. Really, I feel as though the back three has become a red herring conversation amongst Bournemouth fans, because the question, as far as I'm concerned, is never back three, back four. It's midfield two, midfield three every time. Because if we pressed high, like Stoke were, like a number of teams have done to us this season, when we've only got two in midfield, we really struggle. Really struggle to get the ball forward, because it just, there aren't really necessarily the options when the ball comes to Lewis Cook, when it comes to Lerma, when they're facing our own goal, they can only pass it backwards and they don't really have options going sideways. Rico wasn't really there. Smith is suffering. He was losing every battle with McLean today. An extra man in midfield, normally Lewis Cook is the deeper man. He's always an option. Whereas when we've only got a midfield two, we struggle. And in the end, you know, it was playing quickly that really got us the chances. Lewis Cook's bit of magic on the ball got the Dominic Solanke chance that he really should have put away, and he also made the Junior Stanislas goal. And that was just the one or two instances that they didn't keep a collar on Lewis Cook, and he does brilliantly to get away from any kind of lock-in that they put on him anyway. But I just feel to get more control in the game, another man in field would have helped. In the end of the day, I think he set up with a back three to make sure we didn't lose above all things, because we know what Stoke are like. And also, I saw a stat against Brentford. Bournemouth conceded the most goals from headers in the league this season. So to really make sure we pack the box with the big players, to make sure that we're always well set up defensively, which I think we were today, we didn't lose. And in the end, that little bit of quality that we really do have got us that win, which I'm delighted with. And, you know, there'll be games we'll play better, there'll be games we play worse, but getting 3 points is all that matters in the end.
Yeah. Steve, are you in agreement?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to again echo what everyone else has said. Really, I mean, it's a typical evening game at Stoke, wasn't it? It was the epitome of ugly football. But I was ecstatic with those 3 points, to be fair, because had we come away with that with nothing, that's, well, what would that have been? 3 points in the last 9. It's not really good form, is it? So, you know, to grind out a 1-0 where it's Stoke on a cold evening is a great result. No matter what the formation was, who played good or bad. You know, I just think that's a bit steel that we've been missing to grind out a result like that.
No, I'm certainly in agreement with that. So, Keith, it was quite a laboured first half. I've got to say, I was really frustrated after watching that first half. And you know, sometimes I sort of watch a game and I'm fairly placid because I know it can change. But then in 50 minutes, 60 minutes, and it was almost turning into anger. You know, he sort of like angry frustration. But thankfully, you know, Junior popped up. Had he not, I don't know how I'd be feeling. I'd be feeling pretty bad. Why do you think we were so poor in that first half?
I think people have identified that Smithy is certainly not firing on all cylinders, and it was something on Vitals I was reading this week that contracts are coming up in the end, and Smithy's one of those. Gozza's another one, and Junior's another one, with Namdi as well. And I wonder if he's just unsettled. I'm sure he wants to stay with us, but is he of the quality? When you compare him to Stacey, is he of the quality that we need? At the moment, it's not getting any competition. I don't know about the Carter Vickers guy. We haven't seen him yet. I know he's been injured, but yeah, and Junior can go missing as well, and Brooksy can go missing sometimes. And so I don't know if we've lost that little bit of teamwork and what have you. And obviously, I thought it was a great smash and grab tonight. It was really, really tough, and they're a hard-hitting side. And to get the 3 points is brilliant. But is there a little bit of people being unsettled? I don't know. We certainly missed. I think we missed Billing tonight. His influence, and I agree, we need the three in the middle of the park, and I think the 3-5-2 is the way to go. We've tried other things. I thought the 4 at the back was a bit adventurous against Brentford, but Smith is certainly of a concern. He's not firing on all cylinders, and I don't know what the state of play is with the contract talks with him. But it'd be interesting to see what happens developing during the month. Certainly don't think we need another striker. I think we could afford to get rid of King. He's been ineffectual when he has come on. But I think that's the area of concern. And I wonder if we'll go into the market this January with getting another right back in and looking to replace Smithy. I don't know. Steve, do you know how old he is, mate? Is he about 30 now?
30, yeah. I think he's bang on 30, isn't he?
Yeah, so... Maybe Jason's saying to him, maybe your time's come to.
He's always been a bit of a part player, hasn't he? He's never really had a nailed down position, Smudge, has he? Where would you say? He's always utility, in my opinion.
Yeah, we've tried to play him on the left. He never really settled into that. On the right, initially, he was really good. He looked really sharp, but the last 3 or 4 games, as you say, he gets involved. I know he's always a bit of a wind-up merchant, but he gets involved with silly things, and it just looks cuts a frustrated figure, and he's not getting that form as he has when we were in the Premiership, for example. So that is the right back position is an area of concern of mine.
Do we know how far away Stacey is?
I think he's about 3 or 4 weeks away.
Okay.
He's back in light training, I'm pretty sure. I remember hearing that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, that's right. Yeah, by the way, John, I'm impressed at your ability to write messages and appear like you're not writing messages on screen. I just flashed your response to Ben up, which I thought, was absolutely bang on. But yeah, Kirk Tovey says about Stacey, 10 days away.
Oh, there we go.
That would be the ultimate tonic, wouldn't it? After Smith's been looking leggy and sometimes I wouldn't say sort of
Well, if we can give Namdi a run out against Oldham, and then we get Stacey back for the next league match, ideal.
Yeah, that would be. I mean, I like to see more of Namdi. I think he could play. I think he played for Wickham as a holding midfielder, but I think he can play as a centre back as well. And that utility where we can play people in different positions and they don't look out of place. The other thing is, I don't know if anyone else has noticed, I think Brooks actually looked better in the middle of the park than he does as an inside forward, because it's like cutting off 50% of his game. When he's in the middle of the park, he can drift in late. He can dictate the tempo a lot more than he is on the wide. And I've never been thoroughly convinced as an inside forward. He's a fantastic talent, don't get me wrong. I think he can play anywhere up at the top of the park. But I think I like to see him get involved more. And I think when he played in the middle of the park with Billing and Cook, I thought he looked pretty decent. And I thought he linked up the play really well, and he works around Solanke, who I think has been exceptional so far. I know it's not the position we're used to seeing him, but I just think, I want him to be involved in the game a bit more, and he can, again, tonight, disappear a little bit. And
so if you had a choice, Keith, if you had a choice, Solanke or Surridge, Solanke and Surridge, or Brooks and Solanke?
Solanke, Surridge. Because I think Surridge offers someone who could come in, run off the shoulder, work the channels. Brooks, The ideal thing, I will have Brooks in, as I say, in part of the midfield three, because I think you can have him in a Mazzala role where he can come in and he can either link up the play with Lewis Cook and then feed it through to Solanke, through to Danjuma. I like to see him more involved in the game than he is, and I think we've missed a trick with that.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I don't think he's suited out on wide position.
No,
Wales. Does he play more central for Wales? I think he does, doesn't he?
I think that's how they set him up as well. I think they play him as like a centre mid, but without the defensive responsibilities. And I think when you put him up in a three, because he's still quite a lightweight guy, if he gets I think in the back of his mind, if he gets a really heavy challenge like he probably would have done tonight, that horrible tackle, I don't know how the guy stayed on. I think in the back of his mind, he's going, I'm going to do my ankle again, or I'm going to do something else again. And I think in a midfield three, you're kind of protecting him. You got Lerma or you got Billing who have the physical presence, and then they can feed it out to him. I just think it just allows him to be more creative than sticking him out on the wide. As I say, I think it's like 50% of his game is gone because he's having to cut. He's just cutting inside, whereas you can let him just free roam, be that free roaming playmaker, and I think that will quicken the tempo up. But I know it's a left field thing, but I wonder what anyone else would be thinking about that.
Yeah, it's it's maybe a debate for another day because we're going to close it off at the moment.
Yeah, of course, mate.
I mean, we've gone over an hour, but I tell you what, some interesting talking points after that. We got the win that we needed, though, and the main thing is, Keith, you're back in the game on back of the net.
No, I'm so sorry, guys. As I say, it's been absolutely manic.
And cut you off in your prime.
I know. And I lost my beard and I've lost my hair.
Did you get your shaver for Christmas? Is that what it is?
Yeah, I did actually. The hint was really subtle when my old man said, "Don't you think you ought to have a shave?" And I thought, I feel like I'm 14 again. No, it's brilliant to be back, boys. But it's not as though I've missed it. I watch you guys every week. TJ's shows spot on. It's always good to hear from Jeff and all the rest of the lads. So yeah, and onwards and upwards. We're tucked right in. I think it's a three-way fight between us, Norwich, and Brentford. That's how I see it. And Brentford they look really, really sharp at the moment. They look like a Premiership side as well.
Don't forget Swansea.
Yeah, and Swansea. And Swansea too. Very, very true. Keith, thanks so much for coming on.
I'll be. When's the next game? I can't remember.
Oldham next week in the FA Cup. So yeah,
I thought we were playing Millwall between them, but you're right. Millwall's on the 12th. Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. I'll be on again, and no doubt, just chatting a load of old chutney as I always do.
Love it. Good man. That's Keith.
I love chutney.
Thank you so much. Yeah, so do I. Steve, thanks so much.
Good to see you, mate. Merry New Year and all that.
Yeah, Merry New Year. Happy Christmas. Happy New Year. Happy Easter soon. I think you buy Easter eggs now, can't you? Yeah, why not? Cheers, Steve. And John, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me. Happy New Year. All the best.
Happy New Year to you. So before we go, what we're going to do is go through some of the 5-word match reports that people have been submitting, and there have been quite a few. So that was our tweet that we put out earlier. So, Mr. Tiggs, nice to see you, Mr. Tiggs. Boring farce broken by Stanislas. Yeah, what was that all about? Donna Hutchinson. I mean, I'm sure he said his name right before. I think that was him co-commentating. Lewis is a vital cog, says James. Yellow for Lerma, no violence. That'll do, Donkey, that'll do. Two cooks spoil the Potter, said Will Trigger Travers. We got Luke, not pretty, but 3 points. 3 points, but concerning performance. I think that's pretty much summed it up. Matt, Nick, Cherries, Potter around, and then boom. An ugly 3 points won. Not the best, but good, said Daniel. James has come in with a few more. Nathan Nichols magically winning against turgid Potters. Winning ugly is still winning, says Andy Gray. Mark, cold, wet night in Stoke, and it is a results business. That is what Tom Jordan says. And Tom Jordan, he is back with the review show as well, with the player ratings. That should be very interesting. Do check that out. Do subscribe to the channel for that. But Cherries did what they needed to do tonight. However, this show is dedicated to this man here, Jimmy Lumber. He was a true loving brother, father, granddad, and gentleman, but most of all, a true loving Cherry who was one of us. Not many can say that they loved the Cherries more than him. He was a season ticket holder and an avid Bournemouth fan right from the start to the end. He's going to be deeply missed by all and remembered by so many for years to come. That win was for you, Jimbo. Up the Cherries, and we'll see you in the next video.